Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Magnificence, a game where we are all having a fantastic time and no one's getting emotionally scarred. That is my motto for D&D games. Everyone's happy all the time and nothing sad ever happens. I'm very excited to have you back for this next session as we delve into, as I said before, Act 1 proper and the mysterious expedition led on by Duke Leto, taking the party down into the depths of the earth and the unknown. I'm very glad to have you all back, and as always, I am very glad to have the content book that we are using throughout this game, Oracles of Agra, written by Sarson Games, which has provided us our small pantheon here for this game and a couple of subclasses for our very own players. A very wonderful book with wonderful content that everyone should please go check out. With that, why don't we get right into a quick recap of our last session? Going back over some of the events that have been unfolding within Seer's Mourning and events to come, discussions that are had. Let's get right into it. Last we left off, we began with a bit of a small crime. Just a small murder that was happening in sort of a residential office area where Kuvos' contact was found dead. A bit of investigation around the area didn't turn up too much, apart from a few, maybe key clues. The letter that Kuvos had, which he then shared with Suda, mentioning the name Sidestep, an alias that neither of them have ever heard of, but Suda has heard of Knight Julin, someone that is known to work over in Mardo that's she never met herself, but has at least heard of. A knight as part of House Dreven, one of the lowest of the noble houses of the Empire. Kuvos questions why the Empire would be collecting Salja, but with no conclusion reached, and unable to find further clues within Ushed's abode or on his person, the two return back to join the rest of their party. Having departed Dame Cersei's residence, Sage, Alina, and Caradwyn return to Alina's collection of historical books, her library. Her small, meager, but still very impressive collection of history. They follow along to her library and do a bit of research. Olwen, who is also interested but loathes the idea of being seen, enters a noble's home, decides to break in, and is immediately climbing through the window. Alina guides her companions to the library. They all ask for various bits of information and begin reading. Soon enough, Suda and Kuvos going to join them as well. Olwen shares a strange song, telling Alina that she is not allowed to write it down and emphasizing the secret nature of the information he hopes to find. The song is in a language that no one present but him can understand, but as he recites it, he says if he finds what he's looking for, he might share the translation. Sage dives into the collection herself, seeking information from the late 700s to the early 800s PE, aka post-Exodus, about a researcher she's been searching for, as well as information on the elusive and mysterious patron that she has mentioned. She checks religious texts, finding records of migration of clergy members to Ancairn during that time period, but no specific names stick out to her. However, there are references to several controversial papers from that time. Olwen narrows down his own leads, finding records of the downfall of druid groves, the famine that followed quickly after, nearly a decade of this suffering, and then flourishing. With no rhyme or reason, no explanation, the land simply returned to itself with no explanation. Olwen assumes he knows something had replenished the land, taking it from that cursed famine to abundance, and he intends to find out what. Sage carries the water-damaged book that she found once upon a time, discussing the patron of knowledge, an omnipotent being that whoever the writer of this journal was searching for. The only solid detail is that the patron holds many faces, quote-unquote. There's an argument whether this means the patron is more than one person or a shape-changer. With much more discussion and research, the party eventually finds time to move on and continues on to the residence of Duke Leto, the one who brought the fire starter up to the surface. An eccentric man who admits to knowing that the children stole the creature from him and says he wanted to simply observe in the name of science. Sage doesn't really believe he's an actual scientist. Nonetheless, he offers them a job. He wishes to go back down into the buried city where this creature was found. Says he wants all or none of the party members, offering them a pretty sum to join him. And so, now the party sits, still here in the parlor of Duke Leto, ready to discuss the job further. The floor is open to all of you, Duke Leto sitting there, eagerness on his face. He's more than excited, more than prepared to tell you any details that you may have questions of. And so, players, as you sit here in front of Duke Leto, this job offer in front of you, feel free, the floor is yours.
Ulwin would step up to try and ask something, and he is going to say, "So you're saying these creatures came from this place, but there's something strange about them. When we took apart the fire starter, there were some parts of it that didn't seem like it could just happen naturally with a creature like this. Something did it to this creature. What can you tell us about that?"
Well, that's my dear friend. That is something that I am wanting to find out myself. I agree, it was not natural, these creatures that we are finding. They are twisted and malformed, as if they are two things put together or one thing pulled apart. They are very, very strange. Who or what is doing this to them? That is one of the things I intend to find out. Unfortunately, none of the answers can be found on the surface level. We have not gone very deep in all of our expeditions thus far. I wish to go down into the heart of the city itself to find these answers.
When Leto says putting together and pulling apart, very visibly Suda perks and pays full attention.
So, is it... I don't think you ever specified. That city is abandoned, you said, but did anyone possibly... Could anyone have possibly stayed that might have been able to do something like this?
That is the interesting part, my dear wizardly friend. Upon entering the city for the first time, you would think, oh, it is an abandoned city down in the depths. It is from ancient times. You would see skeletons, mummified remains, abundance, such as the like. A peculiar thing that I have gotten reports on, there is not a single body anywhere within the city. No remains of any living things that we have found. No skeletons, no bones, no mummies, no creatures, except for the ones that we have brought up with us, the strange malformed rodents. The city has only opened up very recently. Could it be possible that someone has snuck down and put up shop down there for strange necromancer experiments? Yeah, possibly. But we did find some of the mutated rodents on our very first expedition. To say that it was someone from the surface that went down and began doing this themselves, I would say is unlikely.
So if it was a person, it would have to be someone who was there already.
Someone that was there already. Right there on the nose, he says, tapping the tip of his nose. Very excited by what you've just pointed out. Obviously a great theory of his.
So the creatures, they're all rodents then?
Similarly enough. We see mostly rodents. There maybe were a few like bats, some large bugs that's had the same effect. Mostly rodents.
You mentioned that the fire starter in its growth followed the same pattern as the others? What other commonalities do they have? Is it the crystals, just the growth? What's...
The crystals were a commonality between all of them. Every single one that we have found that's had this mutated form was corrupted by these strange red crystals. I cannot determine their nature quite yet, but believe me, I will do so eventually. Some of them had the same metal malformations fused to their body. Some were helmets of the like, some were armor upon the rest of their body, but not all. Some of them did. Almost like a twisted child experimenting on small animals, just curious to see what would happen. That is what I would compare their strange metal malformations to. But all of them did have the crystals.
Have you had
found-
anybody cast Identify on the crystals or anything like that?
Not often. I believe we had one man. Wizards don't normally come down with us. It is mostly researchers and then the brutes that aim to protect us. I think there was one man towards the beginning who got his hands on one and tried to magically identify it, but he never shared the results with me and, well, went off somewhere on his own. So I could not say what.
If it's a possibility for you to provide the materials and access to a copy of the spell, I'd be lovely to do that for you before we arrive.
Absolutely.
Have you encountered any other animals down there that aren't affected by this, or is it everything you found?
That was about everything we found. The largest we found were the rats, and we have not yet found one creature, be it animal nor bug, that was not affected by one of these things. It seems everything that comes out of Mor Akros, if it is alive, it holds some manner of this corruption malformation within it.
Does that include those of you who visited?
The ones that have come back, they seem fine.
More and more, it seems like whoever's behind this deserves nothing but the most painful death for what they're doing to these natural creatures.
Isn't that so exciting?
Owen is like furious as this man gets excited. Happy at the prospect of this.
I think as everyone else is talking to Leto, kind of at Sage's mention of the Identify spell, he's gonna kind of scoot his way over towards her while letting everyone else continue their conversation. Just be like, Sage, do we still have that crystal?
Yes, I believe I had wrapped it up in something and tucked it away in my bag. I don't pull it out at the moment, but I kind of pat my bag to indicate, yeah, I put it in my pocket earlier.
I have the spell prepared. We can do that now.
Do you have the pearl or whatever it is?
I don't, but if we can go find one, then...
Leto, do you have a pearl available at the, now?
A pearl? What kinds?
Let me check the...
Approximately 50 gold pieces worth.
It says 100 on my
100 gold pieces worth. I misremembered the spell. I don't have it. So.
100 gold pieces worth.
One of those pearls. No, I'm not a jewelry man. I don't know. No.
Well,
we can certainly get one.
He agreed to provide it already, so
perfect.
this way we don't have to take the time for one of us to copy it down since Kuvos already has access.
There we go. So we will get a pearl on our way out of the city, so you can cast the spell and hopefully tell us all of its secrets.
At the mention of like jewelry, Owen is just immediately going to turn to Elena and say, "Wouldn't you have one?"
Not on me.
Does Elena wear pearls?
She kind of
No,
gestures to her clothing, that's just very pearl clear. There are no pearls there.
No, I don't mean on your person, but I just assumed that.
I mean, there's probably some back at the townhouse, but If we're going to be working for Leto, I would think that he should provide. Pointed look at Leto.
Oh, he says, putting a hand over his heart. Oh,
You don't
wound
get
me.
wealthy by spending your own money.
It's part of the research fund. Come on.
Exactly.
I would do anything for science. So yes, we will buy pearls.
Perfect.
Might want to buy a few of them.
Says
Handfuls.
handfuls.
Wink at him.
How expensive can they be? It's 100 gold pieces. We will be fine. We can get dozens. It will be fine.
Kuvos is just kind of like hiding the, oh, that's nothing, like the shock at the idea of, oh, that's nothing.
Having spent
To
all his
him.
money to send a letter.
Olwen is not hiding the shock to the phrase that is nothing.
And Alina
I
just rolls
think
her eyes.
the sage fully knew how, like, she was like, this is a tall ask when she asked for both not only the material component, but also access to the spell and the money to be able to copy it into her spell book. And so she was like, I'm making a big ask here. And like, Leto's just like, no worries.
He's like, oh yeah, let's do that.
While all of this conversation is happening, Suda will surreptitiously go examine something else in the room, and very low will be muttering to herself.
Do I pick up the muttering?
Well, it
I
depends on
normally wouldn't
how
ask,
engaged
but-
with Leto are you at this point? 'Cause
Well, I'm mostly asking because I have the observant feat. I have a passive perception of 22, so if you're in the same room, I might hear you.
I mean,
What a creep.
Like, not on purpose.
We'll say, Suda, are you attempting to be like incognito about this? Like you're trying to keep this on the down low? Like consciously trying to keep
Yeah.
yourself quiet? Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, why don't we can call this a stealth, but let's use your charisma stats
Ooh.
to kind
Okay.
of like level your voice, keep yourself quiet and low.
That gives me just an extra +1.
There you go.
16.
16. All right. Anyone who's since you're still engaged in conversation with Leto, we will go off passive perception, which we know Olwen's, of course. So anyone who is beating that 16 would be aware of it. Be aware of the muttering, whether or not you hear the exact
Just-
details.
Yeah, it's one of those where it sounds like she's having a conversation with herself. Like it's just, I don't know. It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Pause. It could really find us a solution to our problem. And just very low muttering, talking to herself.
I don't think Olwen is like very. I have a charisma of -1, so I don't think he's very
boy.
subtle about when he notices things. So I think when Suda is speaking to herself, speaking to themselves, Olwen, you see Olwen like immediately like turn towards like that direction.
Which is gonna be funny when Suda turns back around and sees Owen like staring at her, like, what? Can I help you?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought I heard something.
Okay, while this interaction is happening and everyone else is talking to Leto about, the various things, he's said to provide. Speaking of things you intend to provide in the name of science, I'd like to discuss a few more details about how you intend to pay
Yes,
us.
good. The number, the 6,000 is that I forgive me. I know not the going rates of your party. I would say these days, but I have only just now met this party, so 6,000 is that the acceptable rates? What are we? How does that feel?
Fine. I'll take I'll take half up front, and the other half once we return
More than
to the
fair.
surface.
Sounds about like every other dealing that I have had with people hiring them. Unfortunately, they have not come back to
Now,
receive the last half.
Is
so.
this 6,000 on top of per diem?
Sure.
I just wonder if we're gonna have to pay for our own rations and the
Oh no! If
other things.
do you have your own mounts, your own carriage, your own way to transport yourselves?
Not in such confined spaces.
I have a small caravan that I have been pulling along. If you have anything, we can just hitch you onto the back and pull you along with us and just join us as a group of a whole. And then, the rations of the caravan will just join with yours, and we will sort of all provide for each other in just sort of a big way. So it will, in a way, yes, I'm mostly sponsoring everything. Well, myself and the Witch Queen.
I'm sorry, who?
The Witch Queen
The
Seela.
Witch Queen Seela of House Malright.
Yes.
You'll have to forgive me. I'm not so well versed on.
No, please! I love this because now I can talk to you about something that I have much knowledge on. So, leans forward really intense on Kuvos.
And Kuvos just tenses up immediately, like, when did this, personal space? He's very confused as to how him asking a question led to the breaking of personal space, and there is now a strange man in his face.
Leto, really intense about it because you've mentioned something that he likes to talk about. So, the Witch Queen Seela, as you know, the Queen of Mardo, but of House Malright. House Malright does not occupy the territory of Walking Still. That belongs to House Gravestart. And Walking Still is over the city of Mor Akros. So, technically, Queen Seela has ownership to it, as well as the Archduchess Calspira of House Gravestock. The land claim dispute! It is a lot. It is a lot of politics. It is a lot of speaking back and forth. The Witch Queen wants to take it from the Archduchess Calspira, and Calspira wants to not give it up in the name of her deceased family, and things like that. The recent discovery of Mor Akros means the Witch Queen is a bit more aggressive about it. She has sponsored this expedition. In return, discoveries are put under her authorization, her name almost. So I get to go around and say, well, I discovered this, it would not have been done without the help of the Witch Queen, things like that. To sort of gain her popularity in Mardo and help the people sway to her side, essentially.
Elena, at all of this, just sort of nodding, like this is a very standard
yeah.
way of doing business.
And
so
the dispute between Malright and Gravestark has been going on for a while because the capital of Mardo is within Gravestark's territory, but Malright holds the Queen of Mardo, and it's a thing that's been going on for a while. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost Caradwin's interest at this point, having been, guaranteed I'm going to get paid. I am familiar with the politicking, and frankly, I couldn't be bothered. So I'll be doing kind of low-key pacing the room. I'd like to find something to steal.
Yeah.
I got itchy fingers!
This is my favorite part whenever Caradwin goes into someone's house. Go ahead and just give me a sleight of hand check. Just for this parlor area in general.
17.
17. There's a lot of knickknacks in here. Leto is very eccentric, of course. Teetering on hoarder with the amount of peculiarities that he collects. You find something, it looks like a small bottle, like potion bottle almost, only a few inches tall, fits in the palm of your hand pretty easily. It is wax sealed on the top, but what catches your eye is the swirling, glittery, gold substance on the inside. And as you pick it up and you kind of turn it in your hand for a moment, sort of like a magic 8-ball popping up at the bottom of the potion bottle, you see an emerald green eyeball emerging from the golden swirl, and it blinks at you. But yeah, you grab that.
And that goes in a pocket, thank you.
I can't wait to the end of the game when we just get to look back on all of Caradwin's items that she's procured.
Just start unloading my pockets.
Oh man.
I think we should make a graphic of Carrie's shelf in the Bardo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
There's gonna be
Oh,
shelf
yes.
dedicated to just Carrie's stealings. I love it. What a kleptomaniac.
Mhm. Kuvos just nods along to everything that Leto says, and a little bit too uncomfy to really grasp what they're walking into, but he kind of is like, well, the land dispute doesn't sound comforting, but as long as we have permission to go in, then...
Oh, yes, yes. The Witch Queen has sort of given a blanket permission. The problem isn't getting in, the problem is finding our way through, which leads me into the big problem with the expedition that we have been facing, and something that I hope you can all help me solve. Mor Akros is a labyrinth. It is confusing, it is dark, it is silent, it is very difficult to navigate. Within the land of the stone, the walls of Mor Akros, if you pay attention, there are constantly tremors, vibrations going through the ground, as if something is digging through or something large is moving. It's very, very subtle, but I believe I found a way to use it to our advantage. There is a woman in Mardo. Her name is Athen Cleary. She is a fantastic inventor, and I have worked with her for a short amount of time to create something that we have called the Heart Mimic. It is a device that goes into the ground, and it creates vibrations and tremors similar to the ones that we have found within the earth. And in response to those tremors that we recreate, the tremors within Mor Akros respond. It's sort of like we are calling to it and it calls back to us. We can get into the details later, or you can talk to Athen about the details, but essentially it gives us a way to map the city almost. It allows us to go from any point within the surface of the city down into the depths, so we can hopefully find the heart of the city, where these vibrations, these tremors are coming from, and where I assume these mutated creatures are coming from. That is what we need to do. We need to get to the heart of it. Here comes the big problem, however. Athen has stopped answering my letters, stopped answering the door. I am unclear what has happened. She sent me one final notice saying that she was dealing with a small catastrophe within her workshop, her words, and that work on the heart mimic would have to cease. Any sort of arm twisting cannot be done. I don't know if any of you have ever met Athen Cleary, but holy fuck, what a stubborn woman. But...
So it sounds like her workshop should be our first stop before we try to go underground.
Yes. If we try to go into Mor Akros without the heart mimic, we will get hopelessly lost and die of starvation down there. So, once we get to Mardo, the first point of order will be to visit Athen Cleary, convince her to finish work on the heart mimic, complete our deal, give it over to us so we can use it to navigate Mor Akros. Without it, I'm afraid there will be no expedition beyond just surface level.
Is she in Walking Still, or?
Yes. She has an estate there. She never leaves the estate, so you will have to go to her. And it's also a question of if she will even let you in.
Does it not concern you that the vibrations respond to other vibrations like them?
If anything, I am ecstatic, because that is what allows us to map Mor Akros. Whether or not a giant dragon or whatever the hell is down there eats us when we arrive at the heart, that is a problem for us to deal with then, and that is why I'm bringing you. You can all fight dragons, right?
Oh, dear.
We all just look at him completely baffled.
Elena's fingers just rubbing at the rib between the center of her brows for a moment, just...
It is interesting. It's a matter of whether it's like tuning forks that might start vibrating in frequencies with each other if they're nearby each other, or if it is an actual living thing responding. It is an interesting question.
I am very excited to find out. as you're all kind of in the middle of this conversation, there is, where you guys are sitting in the parlor, the front door of like his estate is a bit of a ways off, but you hear strong knocking echoing through the halls. And Leto pays it no mind as one of the assistants, one of the like servants of the estate, goes to answer the door, and a few moments later returns, enters the parlor holding like a silver plate on his hand with a neatly folded and sealed letter atop it, and pauses at the outskirts of like your group where you are discussing and waits for a lull in conversation before clearing his throat. There is a letter here from a Steelbone courier for one Olwyn Tanner.
All
Oh,
eyes turn to
all
Ulrich.
right, give me a second.
The servant holds out the silver plate for you to take the letter. You see it is a sealed letter, unmarked, but it is marked with the stamp of the Crafters Division.
I guess I'll find a corner to like read this in.
Upon taking up the letter, you see immediately it is a letter responding from your contact within the Crafters Division. You do see on the back, however, that the Steelbones have taken it upon themselves to add a little bit of a message to this letter that was already heading your way. The letter from the Crafters Division first, I will go ahead and read for you. Seer Olwyn Tanner, I thank you for your information regarding the efforts against the Sovereign. You have done your empire a great service. Typically, the Crafters Division is not expected to handle these criminal matters. However, for the Sovereign's sake, I ensured that distribution of the antidote was handled promptly. Additionally, we had a rather unceremonious delivery of 3 children to one of our caravans late last night. One of the young boys pointed in your direction. I thought you'd like to know that they arrived in one piece, physically at least. One of them went off in another direction with some gentleman whose face and name none of my people could recall when I asked them about it. Apologies that I can offer no further information than that. Please find attached a short survey regarding your experience with our services. Thank you for your patronage. Regards, Seer Bonnie Wymond, West Coast representative of the West Coast Division of the Crafters Division. And you see attached there is a short survey. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your survey? Like a couple different questions regarding the promptness of her reply, the service in which was offered, the professionalism of your representative.
Olwyn looks at like the survey, sighs, and begins
Start
filling it.
out. Amazing. So like I said, that is the like front of the letter, but the Steelbones have snuck in their own little message, given that you did the same on one of the last letters that you sent out. On the other side of the letter, written in a coded language, essentially. It's a fairly simple code. It's one you've picked up during your work with the Steelbones, so it's one you're able to read easily. And that one reads as follows. Dearest motherfucker. First off, haha, you got locked in the city you hate. Secondly, why are you asking me for information? Aren't you so good at gathering it yourself? Just admit you need some hand-holding. I promise I won't tell. Thirdly, yeah, I did find something for you. I'm only telling you because I think it's funny when you owe me favors, not because you asked. Nothing too exciting is happening around the Empire, except for this one rumor in Understone that the Archduchess of House Damsier ate a potential suitor. Don't know how true that is, but nobody can really find him, so, you know, how true can it be? Mardo sucks right now. Archduchess Calspira and Witch Queen Sela have not stopped butting heads since the earthquake opened the passage into that buried city. I bring it up, however, because what's been coming out of the city? Miles and miles of lush green vines growing up from somewhere deep within the city. No clue why, how, or where they're from. seems like the sort of weird shit that you're into, though, all about the beauty of nature and shit like that. Worst of luck to you. You owe me 28 gold for this letter. Love, I say with sarcasm and displeasure, Wiki. And there's a little heart at the end of Wiki and an angry face.
I think as Owen is like reading the letter, there's like a very visible like vein like popping up on like the side.
I think we just watched Olwen go through an emotional journey multiple times in a row. Considering it opened with
like,
"Thank you for your service to the Empire."
I think he opens the Crafters Division letter. It goes disgust, happy that the kids are made it, wondering why one of them was taken away, concern, exasperation at seeing the survey, and then just like growing animosity reading the other part of it.
It's like reading that it starts with dearest motherfucker, you're like, oh shit, she's in a good mood. Yeah.
Owen considers writing something back, but then he like thinks to himself, no, I'm not gonna write back to that.
Was that regarding the distribution of the antidotes, Olwen?
Yeah, it was a thank you for the distribution of the antidote.
No further questions.
Okay.
Well, speaking of, I don't think I have any further questions about what we're about to do. I do need to go make some contact with my superiors and make sure that they're at least aware that I'm about to accept this position.
I suspect several of us need to do something similar.
Then
Me
are
as
we
well.
splitting up for now?
Well, I believe a couple of you were interested in meeting my mentor, Magda, and she would be who I need to make contact with just so she knows not to wait up for me. I don't know that she would wait up for me, but at least to, you know.
Does anyone need any muscle? Because I've got nothing else to do.
I mean, I just should swing by home, pick up some supplies, maybe go get a few potions, things like that. Never go journeying without some health potions. That sort of thing.
Should we meet back up at the Vardo? We're going to connect that to the caravan. I think that'd be the best.
Do we have horses or things to pull the Vardo?
I think Lido does.
Ah, yes. If you have your own, we can just connect it to the back of our caravan. No horses should be necessary. We'll just hitch them all up together. And before you all depart, I almost forgot. He turns and digs in the pockets of like the clothes that he's wearing and pulls out a sack of coins that clink loudly. I know we have already agreed on the price for the job, but I also felt I owed you something for taking care of the fire starter in the first place. Leto takes out the bag of gold and divides it all between each of you, giving you each 200 gold
Kuvos
pieces.
immediately takes 12 of that and passes it to Suda.
Suda accepts it gladly from both and chinking right onto the belt.
But you are given gold for your assistance with the fire starter. Leto gives you all information of... We'll hitch up your Vardo to our caravan, learns where your Vardo is hitched up, so he'll meet you all there. So there's a plan set. He says he wants to depart today. It's still morning-ish, so the sun is still, like, barely cresting over the horizon, so you guys don't really have a lot of daylight. He wants to leave, like, right at the start of daylight, so he wants to travel during as much sun as there is. So you have an hour or two to kind of take care of any other business within the city, and then he gives you the location of where to meet the caravan, and you will all set out from there. So anyone that's splitting off on their lonesome or going off in pairs or groups, go ahead. What's everyone doing before we leave the city?
I'm gonna go either check in with Zara. Atash may be around, but who knows where that big sneaky motherfucker is anyway. Certainly need to leave word that I will be leaving town for the foreseeable future so that my absence is not a mystery. this time.
Pseudo.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. Are you doing this on your lonesome?
Yeah, I mean, someone can tag along if they want, but I won't exactly encourage a tag along.
Suda will, I guess, go off on her own, unless anybody else wants to go to the apothecary for potions or otherwise. Then I think maybe Suda and Alina.
Yeah, Elena also wants to go pick up some potions because I'm assuming there's not like a stash at the house.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah, and then the other thing Elena would probably want to do is just go pack up some clothing and equipment and leave word at the house that I'm going to be leaving town. And Mardo's not a dangerous place for family reasons, right? It's not like an enemy house, really. Like, not friend, but not enemy.
I will double check for you real quick. I know the houses that are in there. I can't remember all their allegiances off the top of my head. Let me pull up my list.
Mostly, if it wouldn't be stupid to say like, oh, I'm going. This is where I'm going to be. She'd say like, hey, I'll be in Mardo.
Mm-hmm. So Mardo is split 3 ways in terms of the civil conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Gravestark, where Walking Still is, where you guys will be spending your time, is neutral, which is a surprising thing because they're the second house of the Empire. But Gravestark is neutral. Malrite is on the side of the Conclave. Dreven is on the side of Shroudmore. So it's split 3 ways. So it's it could be anyone's guess, depending on where you are in Mardo.
Got it. So she's going to leave specific info about where she's going then, just so folks know. And then also grab her second favorite horse to bring along. Not her favorite. This is a potential dangerous trip. But she wants her own mount, damn it.
On their trip out to the alchemist, Suda will pick up not only a couple of like healing potions, whatever, but also Elena will note that she buys some of that sleeping drug in bulk. And then we'll break off to purchase she's thinking a pack mule might be helpful. Especially if they're going down underground and need to carry a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe a small mule, and also leave word with the crawlers that she's on the hunt for a bounty, a very I can't. Words are hard. A very lucrative bounty. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And may be gone for some time.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So just taking care of business at the apothecary. I know that Suda and Alina both go in there. So just regular base like health potions are 50 GP each. So you can get as many of those as you like. For Suda's specific herbs that she's trying to gather, I'd say those aren't maybe the most expensive, so they're a little cheaper. So trying to stockpile up on like a really good amount, considering you'll be underground and away for a while, I'd say we'll put that down as at an extra 15 GP to get like weeks worth.
Perfect. I clean the apothecary out. I'm like, give me all you got.
Yeah, all their stock. Yeah. And then just for like a mule, just like a regular mount, just an extra 8
Perfect.
gold. All right.
And Elena's probably going to buy, let's say 3 health potions.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. I'll leave it up to you guys. You guys know how much gold you have, so you guys can deduct from your own gold and add as many health potions correspond with that price.
Owen can't help himself, and he is going to reply to the letter. So, I'm going to... I've written one out, so I'm gonna put this in like code again, like the same one that we normally use to send over to a wiki. And it's going to read, "Greetings to the Steel Bones ever loyal dog. I'm surprised you actually have info for me this time. Here's your 28 gold. such and such are having an affair, such and such are having some stupid duel, such and such have some illegitimate brats. And if you're interested, I also have some info on the creature the poison came from. Thought I'd throw you a bone considering you so often need the help. This city sucks, but not as much as you do. Love, parentheses, to find your corpse in a shallow grave someday, Olwen.
I like this side of Olwen.
I have been waiting to give this letter to Olwen because it's so funny. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to send me a copy of that whenever you get the chance. Oh my god. Yeah, you send that off. You are getting you're doing it through the Steel Bones, I'm assuming. You're getting a discounted price through the Steel Bones begrudgingly because of your working relationship with them. So you don't know where Balewick is currently, but you can guess by the amount of gold that she's nearby-ish, because you're only expected to pay 10.
Kufus and Olwen, I believe you wanted to meet Magda.
You watch as Kuvos kind of stiffens, remembering that he'd made that request before his perception of things kind of changed. He's like, I need to make a call first, but I don't see why not.
Yes, I am still interested in meeting that, was it? The leader of your group? What do you call them?
She's the head of our caravan. She's not the leader of the coven as a whole. That's
Okay.
Lena Darkforge, but she's the head of our caravan.
The head of your caravan, yes.
Okay, great. So Sage
I'll give
and
Kuvos
Olwen-
some time to step away and write a message or whatever he needs to do, and yeah.
Kuvos, are you going with them after you send this message?
He'll tag along, because why not?
Okay. Gotcha.
And there is still slight curiosity, even though it's not for the same reason as he'd initially asked.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll step away and he'll use the sending stone to reach out to Magister Kieran, as usual. And thinking we'll ask, Magister, I had mentioned I need to go to Mardo to follow a clue. Is there anyone to check on that shipment?
Okay.
I think that was 20.
That
I get
was
25
22.
words?
You have 3 more.
Okay. Then it'll be on that shipment coming.
Okay.
Or on that shipment of Salja.
Nostalgia, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you send that off. And there's a long stretch of time before you get an answer. Like, a few minutes pass, and you're kind of waiting there, and eventually you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna go with Olwen and Sage, because they're heading out anyways. And it's not until, like, a few minutes into that walk, so, like, 10, 15 minutes even, pass by before you finally receive an answer. And it comes in through this special sending stone. Magister Kieran. Understood. No one's come up in Mardo. Underground sounds interesting. Have fun? Just stay focused and alive, please. And that's it.
And he responds back with a, I will do my best. However, I was meaning, do we have contacts in Seer's Mourning for that shipment to come at the end of the season?
the returning message. It is hard to put our people in that city. Ushed was our only one. Which is why this is troubling.
Understood. Then I'll do my best to gather what information I can in Mardo before I go underground.
We're taking a lot of the number of words on these sending messages between Kuvos and his Magister in faith, just for the audience's sake. I count them sometimes, but we're also taking it on faith. Okay? It's fine.
I think that was about 20.
Yeah. It's fine, everyone. It'll be okay, I promise. Okay. Caradwin, these, while everyone else is kind of split off, are you doing anything? Oh, wait, you were going to see Zara. I remember now. Okay. So you quickly cross back over to go visit Zara's residence. They let you in, no issue, as normal. This time of day, it's a bit more lively. Like the actual restaurant establishment on the upstairs has a couple of customers. Zara is running around, little apron tied around her waist, serving some people, and waves as you enter.
I'll just go up to her in a moment of calm. Obviously, she's busy and working, and I don't need to make a big show out of it. Is Atash around? Have you seen him lately?
Oh, Atash? I haven't really seen him lingering around, but you know that gentleman. He doesn't really make himself known too much. He could be in my walls for all I know, and that's terrifying thought.
It would not surprise me if he were. Next time you see him, I do need to leave town in the next couple of hours. A very lucrative business deal has come up, and I, quite frankly, would be foolish to not take the money from the Mad Duke of Talcaster, honestly. I mean, this is just laughable at this point. If you could just let him know.
You're working with dukes now, little Caradwin. Look at you. Oh, you're doing so good, pinches your cheek.
Anyone else, I might take a finger for that, but you get away with that for free.
I get away with a lot of things, Miss Caradwin.
Will you just let him know that I do intend to return in a few weeks? I don't want anyone to worry would be a strong word. I don't want anyone to wonder.
Yeah. I have, she looks around the, tavern area and points to, a back table that usually has people sitting at it, but currently is empty. I normally have representatives for, the big groups here in the city sitting around in case I need to contact them real quickly. My guy isn't here yet, but I'll see if I can't catch him to see if Atash can't speak with you for a few minutes before we leave town, just to keep him updated, if that's what you'd like to do.
Sure, sounds good. I know he'll have no trouble finding me if that's what he wants to do. So.
Absolutely. All right, you need anything for the road before you leave? Have you had anything for breakfast yet?
No.
You sure?
I haven't.
I'm
fine.
You look hungry. Come on, Caradwin.
I get that a lot. No, I'll just I'll pick up some of my, spare belongings, a few changes of clothes, some extra knives. My usual. I'll be fine.
Okay, great. Well, here, take this before you go, and goes behind the kitchen and starts preparing food anyways. She prepares a couple, sandwiches and, some rolls, a few chunks of cheese to go on the side, wraps them all up. It's a meal for, a couple people. Wraps it up anyways, passes it off to you. Now, if you don't eat any of that, just feed some of the people around you. That little Triton boy, make sure to put some meat on his bones. I was so concerned when he came in. He looked like he was a breath away from death.
It's true. I think a stiff wind would knock him back into the ocean. I will make sure he eats something.
Absolutely. All right. You stay safe now.
All right. Thank you.
She goes back to waitressing about.
Kuvos sneezes.
Wherever Kuvos is.
Huh. Wipes his nose a little bit.
Talk about it, but Kuvos has a passive ability for shit talking. Sage, Olwyn, and Kuvos, you guys are you heading back to the tavern where the caravan was staying?
I imagine that's the best place to start.
Okay.
Most likely.
Everyone, let's roll for Magda.
What would you like me to roll? Investigation?
I'm gonna.
Can we give them the help
you go
action?
ahead and roll me investigation. I'm gonna roll over here in my own dice box for Magda.
Fingers crossed.
Let's see.
Please. I need to find her.
Yeah. You can give the help action to Sage if you guys want to give Sage advantage.
Mhm.
Well, it could be worse. It could have been an @1, but it ended up being a 18 after my modifier.
With advantage?
Yes, with advantage. I rolled badly.
Oh, gotcha.
Oof.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. With your investigation, you start at the tavern thinking, of course, that's the best place to start to try to find information. You enter through the front door, look over the bottom level of this tavern, and see, sitting at a table, or so slouched at a table, head on the table, really all you see is the big puff of gray curly hair, just kind of sitting there. It's one of those moments where it's like, I know she's so old. Is she dead? Or are we good? Hold on. It's a moment of Magda, kind of very gently, do we gotta call someone? Because she's so still and quiet.
Magna, I see you probably got back late. I'm very gently putting a hand on her shoulder, very respectfully. I think I don't know how Olwen and Kuvos expected this to go. Sage probably seems a little more polite than she usually is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Owen's gonna lean over to Kubus and say, "Is her voice a little higher than usual?"
I was about to say, Kuvos probably expected you to be like, Magda, wake up! It sounds a bit like it is. This is different.
You put a hand on Magda's shoulder to kind of gently rouse her awake, and even the barest pressure, it seems to push against her, and what looks like her body starts to topple over, and you, for a moment, you're like, ah! Until it topples to the ground, and you see it's a couple of burlap sacks and a couple of gourds all set up to look like the illusory hair fades as the trick falls over, and it's more of and then upon that all hitting the ground and thudding all over the floor, you hear laughter from the stairs. Hello, Sage. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I knew you would be fine. I don't know why I bothered.
Oh, yes, I'm good. Everything is great.
I received a job offer.
Oh, did you?
Can we sit? These are some companions I've picked up in the last day or two. I asked where you were, but I know it's everywhere.
Yes, you're quite right. I somehow found myself in the bedroom of some noble lady. I was crouched underneath her bed, eating some of the biscuits that she left out in the kitchen, and then I heard her come in and faint on the bed, faint like a dramatic way, and she fell back on the bed and began lamenting over this lover that her father forbade her.
They do that in private as well.
They do that in private. I don't know if she was practicing or anything. And so while she was doing that, I finished nibbling on the biscuits that I stole from her kitchen, reached out and grabbed her ankle from underneath her bed. She jumped up screaming and ran from the room. And so, of course, I had to climb out the window, and I had a bit of a fall, but I turned out fine, and I scurried my way back here. I don't know how I got out of the upper city. I woke up here this morning.
That's normal.
Anyways. Takes a seat.
I wave down someone and make sure we get her water and an ale. She can pick which one she wants.
Mixes them together. It's horrifying.
This is normal. Sage is remarkably unfazed at this point.
Yeah. Downs half of the tankard that she has in front of her and looks at you expectantly.
So, are you familiar with Duke Leto of House... I just had a brain moment. Len? That's a Game of Thrones house. Tallcaster, thank you. I haven't even watched Game of Thrones. I don't know where that came from.
Hey, as familiar as one can be, people talk about it all the time, and they're like,
pop culture.
Of course, this man is horrible, and everything bad.
I mean, he was a bit off-putting, but he does have ambitions. He's given myself and a few folks that I met up with an offer to travel down to Mardo. We were talking about possibly going there, but weren't sure if the Witch Queen would let us investigate that buried city thing.
Ooh, you're going underground.
I am.
That's fun. Ooh, you'll
I
have
think
to
so
take
too.
many notes and bring them back so we can all review them together. Bring them back, share with the whole caravan whenever you come back.
Of course.
Yes.
Are you still planning on going to the north, or?
Why not? Where else are we gonna go?
Anywhere.
That's true. That's part of the beauty of it. I think we'll probably still go to the north and take a look around, see what the Anvi are getting up to. I want to take a sample of one of those giants from the sea, just sort of see what fuckery is happening there.
Can you send me a missive if it's... I'm gonna pull out the crystal.
Anything like this?
Yes. So... I'm not sure if in your time in the past couple days you're aware of what happened after you left the funeral.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that substance that was used, tap the crystal, came from a creature that had this embedded in it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
May I?
Absolutely.
Takes it from your hand and holds it up to the light, looking at it, sniffing it. It seems to stick her tongue out as if about to lick it, but decides otherwise.
We're going to identify it later. Kuvos, and I gesture at him, who has been very quiet this whole time. We just need, the Duke is going to provide, of course, funds for us to be able to commit to conduct this research, so he's going to be paying for the pearls and inks and such.
That's good.
Yeah. You point over to Kuvos, and the whole time, he's just kind of sitting, like, he's stiff as a board at this point, because he has been presented with two very large personalities at the same time. So he's just kind of sitting there like, this was a mistake. I don't know why I did this.
Think Olwen, the moment this lady goes like, yeah, I broke into this noble's house and ate their food, he has become far more relaxed. And I think at some point he's even going to like mention, I mean, what sort of noble can you find out there that has a good reputation, you know?
Alina sneezes. You know, a thought occurred to me. Would Sage know that there were like earthquakes and stuff happening up there too? A thought occurred to me that if you're still there by the time we finish our expedition, it might be worth us just heading back up north. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment where I can't remember the name of the kingdom. God dang it. Aldmere, thank you. We might head up to Aldmere because the Duke mentioned some tremors in the earth. That is part of what had revealed the city, and wasn't there something similar going on that we heard about at the same time as the giants and such?
The tremors are what's causing the collapse of Ashador, yes?
Kuvos would know this especially. It's less so like naturally occurring like earthquakes and stuff. It's more so like the giants are the root cause. For whatever reason, there's a shit ton of them. Ashador is like on a giant graveyard. And for some reason, they're waking up and clawing out of their graves. Unfortunately, Ashador is built on their graves. So the like tremors and earthquakes are just an after effect of the giants that are coming back to life.
And Kuvos would relay that information at that moment. I mean, the tremors are caused by the giants themselves. It's not anything. It's not anything suspicious or anything unknown. I would be surprised if those same tremors were causing the revealing of Maracros.
So one must wonder if the heart mimic, it's not just an echo, but it may be a response from something even further underneath Maracros.
It's possible?
Well, there are animals, beasts out there that sort of communicate with each other through vibrations. It might be something similar to that.
Really?
Yeah. There are, if you notice, some creatures with longer whiskers tend to have them in order to feel changes in how hot or cold something is, if something's nearby.
Fascinating. Now, I knew cats could use those whiskers to tell if they could fit their whole body through a space, but I didn't know. Sage goes full nerd mode.
A side conversation about animals happens in the
A whole side conversation about animals for a while. Yeah. When your special interest triggers your friends.
Sorry, I don't believe we actually told you who we were. My name is Tanner, Olwen Tanner. This is Kuvos.
Wonderful to meet you.
Prefect Kumos Nemenath of the Conclave.
So like officially schooled, good lad. The Dogforge Coven is sort of like an offshoot of the same organization. We're a bit more hey, go stand in that field. We're going to throw things at you and you will learn magic on like how to deflect. Yours is a bit more rigid. I can respect it.
Kuvos has been told about the Coven, right?
Oh yeah, they are the Kuvos version. The worldview that Kuvos has is the propaganda version that the Conclave has taught him. So what Kuvos has been taught may or may not actually be the truth, just for everyone's reference. But Kuvos's information on the Coven is Lena Darkforge was once a highly regarded professor within the Conclave, but fell short of expectations and couldn't live up to the rigid standards that the Conclave expects. And so she was cast out and started a rogue offshoot organization as a way to directly antagonize the Conclave. The Coven are seen as a bit more savage and very unruly and not respecting of the arcane, such as the Conclave, and not understanding it as much in depth. They are children compared to your abilities. It's a very negative view on the Coven.
Got it. So I think, especially with Magda being like, oh, we just tell people to stand over in the middle of a field and throw spells at them. Like, Kuvos would think about how his lessons were approached and just kind of raise an eyebrow and schooling the expression, just be like, oh yes, I've been told about your organization. And leave it at that.
Oh, don't take me so seriously, Prefect, she says, like slapping the table. I understand that there's a bit of a maybe disconnect. While it is a lot more chaotic, some may say, in our terms of schooling, it's less about the technicalities of magic. It's more about itself as a force to assist. Living alongside of it rather than bending it to your will. Similar in teachings, but very different in how we view it. We do not own the arcane, Kuvos Nemenath. It assists us because we ask nicely.
I see.
We can approach it in whatever way we get along with best. That's the important part for me.
Oh, so that's how you people do magic.
Yes, reading books is a big fucking part of it. You can't really be a wizard without reading a shit ton of books. It's a lot of study still.
But Magda let me pick which books.
Exactly. And it wasn't all just like history of arcane and theory of magical forces. And here, read this 500-page book about this one rune by this one guy who died hundreds of years ago. It's a lot less rigid.
And Kuos just kind of nods along. Thinking back to his own schooling, like, I think he has a very different understanding of it.
Mhm.
And while he's not going to go into it too much,
Mhm.
like, he's picturing back to kind of his epiphanies with it and how someone passing him a book that he didn't understand why he needed to read were then figured out way later when a different book was passed to him that connected to the previous book. And just that idea of them seeing it as like, oh, there are many paths to the same thing. It's like, but what if you don't know the path you need to take to get there? Then how do you find it?
Mhm.
Olwen sort of jumping off from this part of the conversation to ask about the things he wanted to ask about, is going to say, well, speaking of magic, there was a question that I personally wanted to ask you.
Mm.
And it was mostly if you've seen magic that sort of looks like this. And he's going to pull out a small seed, hold it to his mouth, bite it slightly so that it cracks, force it to germinate, and have the roots sort of go underneath his skin to connect to his blood vessels to have like a plant growing.
Mm. Magda watches for a while. Though obviously a very intense woman living in a force of chaos of her own making, there is a wiseness about her. And a woman who has seen much and knows much and genuinely has a fascination with the world and a desire to assist. She watches closely and calmly, nodding along, and as you sort of finish this spell, points her eyes back up towards you, Olwen. Not often, I'm afraid I must say, but in a few places, just not recently. As I'm sure you're aware, there are not many like yourself in the world these days, Mr. Tanner. Those that do exist, they are subtle. They are quiet. I have only met a few. They hide themselves in the forests as deep and dark as the sea itself. But they exist.
And what would you ask for in return? If I could ask you, how would I find these people hiding?
Magda fully turns her chair towards you and kind of pats one of her like wrinkled, weathered hands on top of yours in like a comforting way. I can point you in a direction, youngling, but it is up to them whether or not they want to be found, is the issue. I know of one place that still exists out there in the world. The Sun Circle Grove. We have a rough understanding that it is somewhere within the Nyador wilds, but again, unless they want to be found, they will not be found. Their magic is not something that I am too well versed in, though I have had the pleasure of speaking with their archdruid on one occasion. If you manage to find them, I believe they would have any answers that you would seek.
Thank you. In exchange for this information, would you like to know more about how this type of magic works compared to the sort that you all practice?
Can we?
How about, between you and Sage is a whole other story. For myself, in exchange for this information, Olwen Tanner, how about you do me a small favor instead?
All right.
I would like you. It sounds like your path will take you to these druids, what little of them is left. Our world is carved from stone and blood. Nurture what little of them are left, so that yourself and people like you can live past this time in the Empire. So that greenery, growth, life, seasons coming and going, all things that our living here on this land have thrown off balance, so that eventually they may return in full force one day. In exchange for this information, I ask that you simply aid the druids when the time comes.
You have my word. I guess Owen will tell Sage anyway, if Sage is interested in knowing like how this particular thing works. So the way that I've come to understand the magic that I practice, I was told that the world is alive and it listens. It thinks and it breathes like anything else does, anything else alive would. And it speaks. It speaks in words that you have to listen for carefully, and in words that you can only respond to when you realize that the very words you speak is that of the world itself, that you are not separate from it. You are a piece of it, a leaf from a tree, or even a piece of soil on the ground, that you are not disconnected, that you are part of that world, that the way that you feel, the way that you speak is just as much how the world feels and speaks itself. I was told that you can whisper songs, ones that people can't hear, but that the wind does, that the earth resonates with, that the water echoes when it can. And in these songs, you can carry with it the empathy and understanding of the place around you. When you stand in a field and you feel a natural joy wash and overcome you, that is the joy of the world. When you find yourself dying in a blizzard and you feel that urge to survive, that is the world wanting to survive itself. And when you can resonate that, when this feeling becomes one, then the world will answer back to the songs that you sing.
I let the weight of those words sit for a few moments. That's incredible. Honestly, the arcane is working with the world in our view. I nod at Magda. And of course, the clergy, they tend to work for the divine magic that they use. But that's being the magic that's incredible.
Thank you. It's been a while since I've spoken about this to another person. It is nice.
Magda's asleep on the table.
Good for her.
She's
Love that for her.
Yeah.
I think Kuvos was listening and noticed halfway through that she like conked out and was just like looking at her confused, like how could she?
She's just that good, Kuvos. I'm sorry. You're never going to understand. maybe when you're 150.
Yeah. Just a power nap. That's fine.
She had a long night. She partied pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else that you guys are here in Magda's presence?
I'm partially interested. What is Kubos' reaction to the way that Olwen describes magic, considering that Kubos of the three of us, is the one that grew up being taught magic.
And I think he's intrigued at, like, when Olwen starts talking about essentially feeling the will of the world and connecting with this natural instinct of survival or joy. He's never thought about the idea that anything other than what's living and breathing in front of him has these emotions attached to it. So there's very much like intrigue, but also confusion. Because I feel like, especially with how rigid the conclave is, it's like you don't think about the emotions of what you're manipulating. It is a tool and nothing more. And that's probably how he would have seen anything to do with nature and the ingredients or spell components that he's utilized from nature in the past. So he would let Sage kind of take the lead, especially since she was most curious about it, but he would be kind of listening intently, and you would see this kind of this moment of processing on his face of like, has this been present with everything I've ever done with magic the whole time? And if so, how would I be able to feel it, and why was I never taught how?
Anything else from you three as you're sitting here in this moment? Or is everyone returning to join up with the caravan and begin to set out?
Well, I found answers to my question. I'm sorry, Kubos. I may have taken more time than I would have liked to. Magda is asleep. Were you not going to ask them something?
No, I think I've got all of the answers I need.
Oh, all right. Do we just leave them here?
She'll be
Sage?
fine.
Okay.
Let's
Trust me, she'll be fine.
You all depart, leaving Magda snoring loudly at the table, and return back to the location you were given. They were going to meet you guys at the stables where the Vardo wagon was already stored away, so you could just hitch it up to their caravan and depart from there. So you're all heading back over there. Everyone from their various locations where they were tying up any loose ends, taking care of various business still within the city, begin to converge back on the stables. Caradwyn walking alone through the rat's maze, just a few turns away from the stables. That whistle carries over on the wind. And it's gentle but sharp. And it draws your attention over, where you see, standing outside of a small shop like a small tailor, just leaning against the wall near the door, that hulking, hunched black dragonborn, just watching you, waiting for you to approach. Others pay him no mind, mostly, as you would guess, just from fear of fucking with someone of that size. But he stands there calmly, simply waiting.
I will approach calmly, casually, drawing no interest from passersby.
Mm-hmm.
Good, I see Zara got word to you. Did she pass on my message?
Zara got word. No. We were just watching.
I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Well, you'll hear it twice then, whenever she manages to get a hold of you. I'll be leaving town for a while. I'm sure you're quite aware of the events of the last few days and the involvement of one Duke Leto. He has a very interesting proposition for myself and those others that I got entangled with. A truly absurd amount of money to investigate something underground, more Acros. The Witch Queen is involved. Politicking. But really, it would be foolish for me to turn down something this lucrative, and so I will be in Mardo for the foreseeable future.
No concern on our end. You are, of course, not shackled down to any one place. You are free to go where you wish. I would expect eventually you to come back, do a few jobs, get back into the swing of things, but that can be discussed later. I mainly needed to check in, Little Hare. There is... He motions with his hands as he speaks, sort of emphasizing his points. A great metamorphosis to come within the Reavers soon enough. Leaders come and go. Assassins come and go. I have faith in your abilities, Little Hare, and I would like to see you grow within our organization. Big changes are coming, and I simply wish to make you aware of them so you can be sure to prepare yourself. Death is our business, Little Hare. We would be out of money if not for it. I think you will find your role is going to become much, much larger than you ever expected. And I will assist myself to you as much as I can.
Thank you, Blade Atash. I cannot say that I am surprised to hear that change is on the wind. I am somewhat surprised to hear that I may be part of it, but recent events being what they are, I look forward to it.
His eyes have not moved from you this entire time as he speaks. He has an unnerving ability to keep eye contact. And his scaled brow furrows for a moment as he pays closer attention to you. Something has shifted in the wind about you, Little Hare. Something in the face, the eyes. Get enough sleep last night?
Enough.
Well, do us proud. Don't die in Mardo.
I will do my very best. If word does come of work or something where my particular assistance would be of value, I would like to know. It is always good to have a task, to know that I am of use, of purpose.
I will have a steel bone find you, should anything come up. I'm sure there will be plenty. I'm very excited to see how the world will change and what our hand in it will be, Caradwyn. Very excited.
And with that, I think I will take my leave. Knowing that he'll follow me if he wants to, or won't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he remains leaning against the shop wall and just watches as you leave. You still feel his eyes on your back, even after you turn several corners away. Always, if not Atash, then someone, something has its eyes on you. That much you are very aware of. Everyone converges back at the stables. You see Duke Leto's caravan. Not a very large one, only about, there are 2 carts similar in size to your Vardo, but a few other general mercenaries, not mercenaries, a few other knights of House Talcaster on horses, sort of accompanying the carts on the side. The Moon Mountain Vardo is hitched to the back of the caravan, thus making it 3 carriages traveling in a row. And you begin to set off. This small caravan carries you all through the remainder of the lower city, the Rat's Maze, exiting out some of the main gates. Passing by, you see people gathered outside, ready to pay their tolls to enter the city. Many merchants, many travelers, many tourists. A woman sitting at a carriage filled with rotted, half-rotted coffins. Just waiting, calmly. You all pass them by, exiting Seer's Mourning, as quietly the sun continues to rise. You enter into Grimhold Valley, the large basin that surrounds Seer's Mourning, the long stretch of roads cupped by mountains, the Nyador Wilds out to the east, and the Downscythe Spires out to the west. And cradled in the hands is Seer's Mourning, the capital of the Empire, as you leave it behind. It is dark and overcast and cold, but the bit of sunlight that is there reflects off of the wildlife, the wild grasses and flowers, in a beautiful way. The route is set. Cross through Grimhold Valley, actually going through House Lendaris territory, where you will stop in Beggar's Hole, followed by Little Ivywood, Doncaster, before eventually reaching Walkingstill. Leto explains that he expects the journey will take approximately 2 weeks, give or take, given resting time, how fast you're all traveling. So you all have some time to kill. And given that there are no horses pulling your carriage, none of you need to sit at the front to hold the reins. So you all are free to either walk alongside, or those of you who have your own mounts ride alongside, or hitch them to the back so they can be led along by the caravan. Most of you, I assume, sitting in your own Vardo, enjoying the comforts that you have been given.
I think Caradwin, if it's feasible, is sitting on top of the Vardo.
Yeah, there's like a little almost sunlight thing, so you can open it up and climb up and get in and out easily.
Yeah, I mean, watching the city of Seer's Mourning, you know, as we leave, despite Caradwin's life and experience, the vast majority of it has been within the walls of Seer's Mourning. Mm-hmm. So to watch it grow smaller as we move away is a slightly surreal experience for her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much for all of you, though nobody really says it, you can feel it on the tips of your tongue, the start of a very lucrative job. But looking out across the horizon as you leave Seer's Mourning behind you, it's also just the strange feeling of this is the start of many, many big events to come, though you know not what. So everyone, you are all sort of have a bit of downtime in this moment. We'll kind of make some travel checks as we go along to see weather conditions, whether there's any interruptions, encounters with any sort of wildlife or ruffians on the road. But for now, everyone, as you are entering this period of downtime, as I said, it'll be about 2 weeks travel, which we will get through. It'll only be a few days to get to the, not a few days, a day or two approximately to get on to Beggar's Hole, and then a few more days to get to the next city and the next city. So in total, 2 weeks before Walkingstill, but several stops along the way. So crossing through Grimhold Valley, anything that you guys are doing with your downtime, any conversations to be had with each other, anything you guys would like to do, feel free. Roleplay amongst yourselves.
I want to make sure Duke Leto got us that pearl.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
I'm on a mission, G.
No, absolutely. No, thank you for the reminder. Yeah, he will provide a couple pearls for you guys. So it's a few castings. We'll say 3 of Identify with Kuvos' spell.
I believe it's not consumed. I think it's a one-time purchase.
Oh, is it? Yeah, if so, then he'll
Yeah.
provide you the one to use for the spell.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
don't think it says it's consumed by the spell.
Oh, yeah,
Let me
there you go. So
double-check
he
that.
just he'll give each of you a pearl, knowing each of you are wizards with the capacity to cast the spell. So you
Perfect.
each get the spell.
Yeah, it doesn't
component.
say it's consumed.
Cool. I'll copy it out of your book later, Kuvos.
Perfect.
Who in the party wears leather armor aside from Olin? Is it just Suda?
Yep. Caradwin?
Okay, Suda, Elena, and
Oh.
Caradwin. G, how much money would Olin have had to spend to buy materials to convert a set of leather armor to studded leather armor? Because I plan to do it myself instead of like buying just a new set of armor.
That's
Sorry.
fair. If you
Correction that Suda does not wear any armor. Just has like a leather jacket. So
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it's just Elena and Caradwin.
If you want to take the price difference between leather armor and studded leather armor, kind of take the price difference there. Go ahead and tell me what that is.
Okay, I can look that up right now.
Because we'll take that and we'll deduct a little bit of it since you're doing the labor yourself, and we can just call that the price to gather the materials. That works just fine.
Okay. Leather is 10, studded is 45.
45. Okay.
I don't know how much of that is material and how much of that is labor.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll call it 20 GP just to gather all materials needed to kind of reinforce and expertly like craft this leather armor into something greater.
Gotcha. So I'd need 60 for 3 sets.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think
And then-
while we're like traveling, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask because I know you're proficient in certain tools, so remind me what tools that would be that you're using to craft this.
Leather workers tools.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, that makes sense.
So at some point while we're traveling, Owen is like, as he's like taking off his armor, and I guess because normally he does not take these off, it's shown that like underneath like the skins and like textiles that he wear, they're strange. Like they look like they've been made from like not the best material, but the craftsmanship on them shows that the person who worked on them didn't just like slap them together. There was a lot of thought and skill put into that, but the materials are like weird, almost like it's salvaged. And he's going to call out to like the party as he's like taking it off. I'm going to be doing some maintenance on my armor. Would anyone else like to do that? I can only work with leathers. Unfortunately, I'm not a smith.
I mean, I'm never going to complain about better armor. So Elena sort of points out at some point to Olwen. At some point we were all loading up. She brought, or someone brought for her, a chest that had like various and sundry. She's a nobly person. She has a chest that she carries along with her, right? It's got her crest on it. It's that kind of thing. And in there, one of the pieces is a set of it doesn't look like armor at first. It just looks like more clothing. But then as she hands it to you, you'll notice that it's heavier than you would expect clothing to be. And so it's like this layer of silk has been put over this armor, and the leather itself has been stained to and decorated to look like clothing. So it reads as clothing, but it actually also is armor, and it kind of fits in the style of her other clothing. And she hands it over to you, and this was made by some of the best armorers and tailors in Seer's Mourning, but I'm curious to see what you do with it. Have fun. She hands it over.
Olwen takes it, and not in like an insulting way, but almost like in a pride for the people that he knows kind of way. He is going to say, "This was made by the best armorers and tailors that you know from Seer's Mourning."
Yeah.
Yep.
He's also gonna poke his head out of like the Vardo because Carrie's on the roof, right? And he's just going to like yell out as the Vardo's moving, Carrie, I'm working on everyone's leather armor.
Oh.
Would you like me to work on yours?
Yeah. What do you want? What do you want in exchange for the working on the art? What do you want?
Owen didn't think that far ahead. It was mostly in his head. Is like, oh, I have money. I don't usually have money, and I get to do a thing that I like to do. So he's going to call out and, after like thinking for like a hot second. He's gonna say, I guess you just owe me something. This is, if we're gonna be traveling together, it seems important to make sure we, not die.
I can see the value in that, and she'll sort of, unbuckle the breastplate. Actually, very interesting. Elena's description of armor that looked like clothing. Caradwin's is quite similar. The leather, the leather breastplate she wears blends very naturally into her clothing, so she is not visibly armored. Perhaps acquired from similar craftsman type people, though perhaps not as above the table as Elena's acquisition. Thank you. I suppose I owe you a favor. A name, perhaps.
Sure. It's like holding on to like the outside of the water to like grab it from the room.
So I'll pass that down, and then assuming you kind of go back into the interior of the wagon to do your little crafty goodness. If I have a few moments where I feel reasonably confident that I will be unbothered on the top of the wagon, I'd like to pull the thing out of my pocket to finally look at it.
Amazing.
Because I know it's there. It's been there the whole time.
G is rubbing their hands together deviously.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
Rocks fall, everyone dies. Okay. So yeah, you are sort of in this weird state of peace. Carrie's definitely used to the hustle and bustle of the city. You've been out of the city before, but like not really often. As you said, most of your expertise is within the city. It's an unfamiliar sort of calmness here as the sun has mostly risen. You're kind of sitting in the glory of the dawn. There's just cool air blowing by. It smells fresh out here. There's the faintest smell of salt water for the ocean a few leagues behind you where Seer's Mourning was. It's very peaceful and calm. And as everything sort of settles, you go into your pocket and feel those cold beads against your fingers, and you remove it slowly. The item you're holding in your hand is sort of a rosary type necklace. A long loop of beads with a string of beads at the end holding not a symbol, because there's nothing on it. It is worn wooden beads strung together with black leather. The beads colored dark reds, browns, and blacks. The symbol, quote unquote, at the end is none more than a worn, not at all shiny, scratched up, like silver disc. Again, no heraldry imprinted on it. It is just a blank silver disc, having seen years and years of use and age and wear and tear. The whole thing, the beads, the silver plates, they're all cold to the touch in your hands. And they smell of earth, of soil. But that is what you hold in your pockets. You feel an unknown reverence with this rosary in your hands.
I think that's it. I mean, I think I'll just sort of sit there pondering it, sort of doing the, rubbing my thumb over this unmarked silver disc, loosely considering the implications of its existence, but more of a fidget at this point, I think, as I just sort of take in the environment around me and really lean into all of the change that is happening around me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is nice necklace. Suda like pops her head up through this. I didn't take your kind for one for finery. As she hoists herself up onto the top as well.
Well, then I suppose you haven't paid very close attention.
I suppose it fits your aesthetic, though.
Thank you.
I get that disc polished up, though. It's a little marred.
I think it gives it some character. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know. Character and jewelry. As you can tell, it's not my thing. I can leave that to all the highborn and otherwise.
Could I do an insight check?
On?
Yeah.
Your comment about I will leave that to the highborn, I would like to think I've noticed a certain degree of your discomfort around the nobility, having spent a great deal of time around nobility myself in different contexts. I want to know how full of shit you are.
All right, please do.
An 18?
There have been some puzzle pieces that, without context, somebody might have overlooked. Specifically, when she was first at Elena's residence, there was not a ignorance of decorum, but just a fervent counter to it. There was a comfortability with the living help, not the magical, and just there was an expectation that she had in those environments that if somebody wasn't looking for it, might have missed.
That's what I thought. Interesting, your dismissiveness of the highborn when you are perhaps more closely connected than you're willing to admit. It's not my business, of course. Your secrets are your own.
Suda looks very uncomfortable for a moment. And there are thoughts, maybe memories that flash behind her eyes very briefly. Well, having lived closely with the highborn for most of my childhood, I pick up a thing or two. And what I also picked up was a particular distaste for such. Their extravagance, their manners and traditions and rules were chafing.
Well, childhood aside, I think the path you have struck for yourself thus far is admirable.
It was merely out of survival. And
Isn't everything.
I believe...
Isn't everything out of survival?
I think you would know something about that, no?
I would. A thing or two.
Then I think that we share that in common, at least.
For your sake, I hope that is all we share.
Suda looks very quizzical at that last remark, wondering to what depths Carrie would be willing for Suda to plumb. But in respect of the I'll keep your secret kind of thing, kind of statement previously, she'll simply file it away. Though she will put out a rhetorical question. It begs the question, though. How far are we willing to go to survive? And what is it that drives us to such lengths? And I wonder yours. But, again, secrets are your own.
Enjoy the wondering.
Suda will nod the touch and simply settle close by and enjoy the sun.
Yeah.
Or the clouds, I guess.
Yeah. As much sun as you can get this time of year in the Empire. It's still nice. Amazing. So, real quick, just popping into the interior of the Vardo. I know Kuvos, who has the spell prepared, is going to be casting that on the crystal here. What is, those of you that are inside of the Vardo, before we get to that, I'll just ask, what is your passive investigation? And that will exclude Kuvos, since you are focusing on doing this spell.
Damn. Okay, I was gonna say I had a 16 investigation.
Well,
so-
I have a 17, so
There we go.
16.
Okay. Sage. Sitting around waiting for Kuvos to cast a spell, as he begins casting
12.
Identify, solving some of the mysteries that have been set before you. You're looking around this Vardo, this beautiful, mysterious vehicle that now carries you through the Empire. Some of the intricate carvings and paintings on the wall. It's a beautiful piece. You can tell it has much history about it. And just as that thought comes to your head, that this thing holds history within it, there's a portion of the wall. You know there's enchantment about this vehicle. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Not much bigger, but enough to be comfortable. This portion of the wall catches your eye because you pick up that the wall is not solid. It holds seams, and a portion of the wall can open. And that
secrets
is where we're going to end our session today.
Secrets!
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you're just as excited as us to exit Seer's Mourning and go out into the Empire as we embark on various quests. The murder mystery of Ushed Grumeno, the mysterious happenings within Athen Cleary and her workshop, the city of Mor Akros, and many, many other mysteries to unfold. I hope you enjoyed. I sincerely hope you will join us for our next episode as we dive into all of our various quests. And as always, everyone at home, take care of yourselves and have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, we actually kind of harmonized on that
Bye-bye.
one. What?
Yeah.